Hi, I'm Tom Shoebridge, and welcome to So You Want to Be a Screenwriter. We're going to look at acts, the breakdown of the long story into pieces. These clips don't show the acts, but they're part of an act. Think about that.
You and May told me what y'all was up to. I didn't want to believe it. And just what makes you think colored people need your help? Why you care, Minnie? Maybe you just want to get Aibileen in trouble.
No. I want to show her perspective, so people might understand what it's like from your side.
Well, it's a real 4th of July picnic. It's what we dream of doing all weekend long. Get back into their house, polish the silver. And we just love not making minimum wage or getting the Social Security.
Let's go. We can definitely crack this. Remember, I was a kid once too. So come on, it's someone at school. Right?
Yeah.
Good. And what does he feel about you?
She doesn't even know my name. And even if she did, she'd despise me. She's the coolest girl in school. And everyone worships her because she's heaven.
Good. Well, basically you're fucked, aren't you?
The 3-act structure is really the basis of the contemporary, modern, feature-length film. And I think I mentioned before that the 3-act structure was invented thousands of years ago. And it's hung around, and there's a reason for that. And that is fundamentally acts meet the expectations and requirements of the dramatic force. It's a lot of gobbledygook, but it basically means that an audience, because of the dramatic elements in the story, expect that there are going to be breaks, that there are going to be changes, that there are going to be differences. And acts are the great big changes in a dramatic story. Later we're going to talk about scenes, and they are going to demand the same kind of change. The acts are basically Act 1, 2, and 3. Pretty simple. Act 1 is the introduction to the story. And the key there is that you have to embed the story into the first act without revealing too much. But it's not unlike a striptease in which a little bit encourages more. Maybe a bad example, but what we're trying to do is show that there will be things that are going to be revealed, that are going to come to pass, and we set up the expectations. So Act 1 ends with a major event decided by the major character. Again, a major event set up by the major character. They make that decision, okay? And that's a very important thing. Heroes have to be in control of their own world. And whether they back into a decision or they make it forthright, even if it's the stupidest decision in the world, it's their decision, and the rest of the drama is going to be the consequences of that decision. Act 1 is punchy, fast, gets to the point, and then gets out of there. Hardly ever over 20 minutes long. Sometimes 25, but usually around 20 minutes. The second act, which is the long, difficult, complex one, is the most difficult to write. And the reason being is that here is an amplification of the characters who are involved, the plot lines that are going to happen, the goal that's going to be ever present, and all of the impediments that are going to keep the major characters from reaching their goals that are going to be revealed. And it's going to have a shape. It has a shape in which at the midpoint of it, which is the second act, 60 minutes long at about the 30-minute mark, something significant happens where the characters have something very different to deal with. It's either information, a new character, a new element that in fact changes the direction and forces a whole series of new decisions by the major characters. That 60-minute story is really the heart of the film. It's where all of the wonderful things should happen because you've got the time to reveal them. You have a dramatic necessity to keep the audience involved. And so this is where the surprises happen. This is where revelations are important, where new information can speed up or slow down the progress, and that the obstacles become harder and are more unique and more really do bring the best out of the major characters. And this is true whether you're talking about a war film where they're going to get a particular goal, military goal, or whether it's a romance in which in the second act the characters really find out who they are and they decide, they are pushed towards a decision as to whether or not they're going to stay together forever or temporarily. Act 3 is the satisfaction act. It's short, it's high drama, it's got high stakes because everything that you've been building up to in the first 2 acts have to come together into some kind of satisfying, believable conclusion. And so you're packing a lot of information in. It may not be action as such, but it's emotional action. And characters move a long way in which they make realizations and then they make decisions and then they are quickly brought to a conclusion. It's not just that you had the audience for an hour or so in the feature film that they want to move on, that they want to be satisfied and have it over with because of time constraints. 100 minutes is a long time to sit. So that's one of the just basic elements of the 3-act structure, is that are those major changes. For those of you who know music or really appreciate music, you know that this is the way that music is built as well. That you have these major changes that keep the ear and mind interested in listening to music. And when we talk about scenes, that's really when we look at pitch and rhythm and pace, which is so essential in music, and believe it or not, is essential to good screenplay writing as well. But right now we're thinking about the overarching story and how it's broken into pieces in order to satisfy the dramatic elements of the narrative. So good luck shaping your acts.